Dave Mignano, the fun is not stopping here at CLIC 5 here in Anaheim.
No, and we're going to talk about something that's very, very big to me, and that is food.
Oh,
and
what?
Restaurants. You can see I like to eat. I also like to eat Italian food, so we're going to bring on Mr. Jorge Luhan, restaurateur out here in Anaheim with a Italian restaurant. Jorge, I want to bring you on today because I want to talk about restaurants in Anaheim, restaurants in the industry as a whole, because we focus so much on hotels.
He just wants free chicken parm sandwich.
That's also true. That's also true. I'll never turn down a chicken parm sandwich.
Neither would I.
But we talk a lot about hotels in this program and here at CLIC 5, but I also want to get into the restaurant side of things and really just kind of give us a breakdown of how has the restaurant world been coming out of our pandemic times.
And before you answer that, I just want to say that we've got Matt Hostetler coming on immediately afterwards this interview. So stick around. He's the Chief Development Officer with Red Roof. That'll be great. Jorge, answer that question, sir.
Wonderful. Well, the industry itself has, I think, transitioned COVID. I think COVID has brought a lot of positive. And I think one of the biggest things we see in the industry itself is outside dining. I'm the first one to say in the years I've done this business, I think outside dining has been overregulated in California.
Wait. Are you saying there are too many regulations in California?
Never.
All right, go on. Sorry.
It's one of these things that we hear constantly every day is where we have the weather, we can't sit outside. So when you're looking at California, you're looking at post-COVID.
So silly.
With the relaxation of outdoor dining and the ability to do it, I think it was a big pivot point for restaurants. I think it was a revenue stream for restaurants, revenue stream for cities, municipalities, agencies, county. And I think it's here to stay. I think it's probably the number one thing I'm asked with my customer base is we love outside dining. Let's keep it. Sort of had a fun experience with this all in is to say, people think California is a little hard to sit outside. I'm talking to a gentleman who has multiple restaurants in Colorado in the middle of winter where they're putting igloos over tables. So we're at that point where people want to be outside. COVID brought that. We don't have any more issues with it.
I would argue that people always wanted to be outside. It's just that because of those regulations and because we'd been doing things the way we always did them, that we hadn't really tapped into that market. Dave, us living in New York, we saw
it's the same exact thing.
It changed everything, and they are definitely going to go back. Because you go to Europe and everybody's sitting out on the streets and they're having meals out there and drinking their coffee. And then you go to like New York City or LA or something like that, and then you're forced to sit inside. No longer. That's great. How does that change the way that you think about your businesses?
Well, with us, we had the opportunity, I guess I can say I'm one of the blessed ones. I had a lot of space to work with. We built a 2,000 square foot patio on a parking lot. It's a beautiful venue. We put a full bar in there, retractable roof and sides. And so what it's doing, it's giving people an annex. It's giving people an outside area to really play with. It's giving them an alternative revenue stream. When you look at your culture, your brand, you can think outside the brand and say, now I can do something a little differently I've never been able to do before.
Yeah. Operationally speaking, how does that change things? Because you have all this extra space now, but your kitchen isn't getting any bigger.
Correct. So that's on the operator to sit and analyze themselves internally and say, what can we do? And let's not overstep it. And I think a lot of people have in the sense that they put these outside patios that they can't support. So everything in moderation. One has to look at the operation and know their operation internally to be able to do something externally.
Right, Dave?
That was a great question, Glenn. Honestly, you're talking about the same thing in New York City. We had the outdoor dining come on because of COVID. It hasn't gone away. It's not going to go away. And, you're talking about Colorado. It's cold. It's also cold in New York. And guess what? People still want to sit outside. They're sitting outside with their coats, their heaters.
They really are.
All that stuff is not going to go away.
Right.
So do you think, Jorge, that's opened you up to a different market, or is it just expanding the people that want to come to restaurants and get out, eat out, be involved with different parts of their society, their community?
I think it has expanded the market, honestly. I think there's different demographic groups that want, what we did see through COVID is you saw a group that was adamant, have to sit outside, a group that was willing to come inside. But the outside dining group wants it. When you're looking at something so simplistic as, I want to take my dog, a lot of venue, what's the one thing I'm hearing? It sounds as funny as this is, as minute as this is, people want to bring their animals. They want to be outside. They're still concerned. There is a group that's still concerned about COVID. And I think the reality of that COVID brought that to the forefront, brought cleanliness and sanitation. And it brought the idea that, although we do what we can in the industry, we can always do a little better. I think outside dining has given people another option that they didn't think about. And that's opened that door up.
Do you find the outdoor dining has allowed people to stay longer at restaurants as well, continue to order food, drinks, and raise that average check?
I'm not going to say that. I think outdoor dining has allowed restaurants to expand on existing footprints, to have a little, as cost increase. I think it allowed them to generate more revenue through their operations. I'm not going to say it allowed them. I don't see with my organization, I don't see that outside dining has given us any more money as far as a per person check average. I think it's just brought more people through the door.
Makes sense. What about, we were talking, again, Bruce Ford, Logic Econometrics, in his keynote was talking about the, acquisitions and mergers and consolidation. Do you see the same thing happening in the restaurant world where a lot of that kind of consolidation is happening?
Most certainly. And I think that's one of the biggest markets we're going to see. There was an interesting analytic that was just presented on the lodging side, where the upper mid-scale market was big on the hotel side. I think we're going to see the same thing in restaurants. I'm such a believer. I started another company with the restaurant holding acquisitions company. One thing COVID, I think, brought is you saw a lot of brands, a lot of independents that had a good product, good culture, good brand, but a lot of them got caught undercapitalized.
Right.
And I think what we're going to see is, and there's a comment inside as well about mergers, about partnering together. And I think we're going to see that in the industry. If I can say one thing about restaurants, for years and years, the independents have fought each other. And I think it's time the independents have joined each other. There's a small group of us in Dana, where I'm at, where we've actually joined together and created synergies in different markets where we can help each other out. And I think we're going to see that with the acquisitions as well, especially capital. I think that's a big play. I think one of the big things in restaurants is people always undercapitalized startups. Right. And I think we're going to see much more consolidation.
I like the idea of partnering with other restaurateurs in your area. And I keep thinking about when I was growing up on Long Island in the 80s, we had a video store that was part of a network with other video stores that they weren't competing against, and they were able to get better pricing together, and they all created a community to help with the strategy and stuff like that. And I see this as an opportunity for guys like you to maybe be able to reduce costs in certain ways, but also figure out best practices and stuff like that. Because a lot of these other restaurant groups have gotten pretty sophisticated, and their food doesn't suck as much as it used to.
And you know what? And you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a pendulum. Many years ago, when I sat on different restaurant boards, predominantly cities were independent restaurants. Yep. And then the chains came in, the real estate developers and so on. And what we're seeing, the pendulum's coming back to the independent. And there's a transition, I think, in whether it's, magnified by COVID, it started before, but people are feeling comfortable in their local restaurants. They're feeling local. They want that independent experience. And having said that, as independents, we got to stick together and we have to help each other out. It's sort of the philosophy, what rising tides raise all ships, excuse the cliche there. Yeah. But if we see it in the fast food industry where they join together, if we see it in the car dealerships where everything is centralized and localized and more entities in one area, right? We have to take the approach that I'm not competing against you, I'm competing with you. Right. We're together with this. Let's help beat the, let's help us all survive.
I like that attitude.
I think it's the same way in hotels. I always say my competitors in my comp set in New York, yes, we're competitors. We're competing for a lot of the same business, but we do have ways that we can help each other, right? We do have ways that we can influence each other. And, if you guys are able to do that in the restaurant world, I think it only benefits you guys. We didn't ask yet, what's your restaurant? Tell us about your restaurant.
So we are an Italian restaurant. Dana Point, I've been in this industry. We've been there 38 years as a restaurant company. We've been over 45 years. The restaurant's Luciana's in Dana Point, serving classic Northern Italian cuisine. We do have roots in Italy. We have a bed and breakfast in Italy. We produce an estate grown extra virgin olive oil. So I am third generation doing this. So we do have a lot of track record, and there's a great story behind it too. So we've done well in the sphere. We know the brand, we know the market, we know the industry itself. And
so what do the restaurant's open for 38 years, right? Restaurant shelf lives can be typically short a lot of times. So how do you guys keep a restaurant so successful for such a long time in an ever-changing market that is restaurants?
To coin the cliche that everyone's been using lately is pivot. Yep. And I hate to use that word because it's been overused over the last year and a half. But I think with any industry and any business and any brand, you have to keep reevaluating the brand. You have to keep looking at the brand and the culture. How does it compare in the marketplace? Where does your brand position in the marketplace? Right. And with that understanding, being able to make the changes that one needs to make to stay relevant in the marketplace.
Right.
And I think a lot of restaurateurs don't do that. They sit on the loyal and they just keep going expecting the same thing to keep happening, and it's not.
Which, of course, is the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and over again. I just wanted to throw in my own cliche to make you feel better.
I'm all full of cliches today.
So No Vacancy Live is full of cliches too. So much totally fine. You're just fitting right in. Jorge, where can people find more about the restaurant? If they were visiting Anaheim, how can they get over to Luciano's?
Luciano's are in Dana Point. Website is lucianos.com. It would be the best way. We're in South Orange County, so it's about a 45-minute drive from Anaheim, but we do get a lot of the visitors down that way, sort of the secondary.
Right.
I'm not going to call it the Gold Coast, but there's been a big push in the lower half of South Orange County.
All right, last question for you. This is going to be a tough one. If I go there, what is the one dish I must have?
That's a loaded question.
That's what I'm saying, man.
I think one of the dishes that we're legendary for
Yep.
is we do a lot of the homemade pastas and raviolis. My grandmother made them up until she was about 90, 95 years old. So, you know what? She's taught all the kitchen staff and chefs how to do it. I think that's where we have to go.
All right,
I
beautiful.
think we got to take a drive down there. I think we need to go to the Gold Coast and take.
Yeah,
take
listen,
some of
I
this.
would if it wasn't $1,000 a day to rent a car in this market. And maybe we'll just call for some delivery or something like that. What do you think? All right.
For CLIC 6, Corey.
Yeah, we'll definitely come in early for that. All right,
Not a
thank
problem
you.
at all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. What's that?
Well, we switched some guests here.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hungry now. I don't know how you're feeling,
Dude, I'm
but
freaking starving.
talking about ravioli, chicken parm. I mean, these are all my favorite cuisines.
Right.
Coming from the New York area, obviously we know some of the best. So I am ready to have some of the best West Coast Italian food.
And now our next guest, rumored is he likes a good meal too. Of course, I'm talking about Matt Hostetler, Chief Development Officer, Red Roof. Man, it's so great to see you again in person. I'm feeling like even though we had this COVID thing, I've gotten to see you a lot, which is really freaking awesome.
You know, it's always great to see you. It's fun. You know, we get a good laugh.
Yep.
We talk about the industry. Just great friends, really,
Yep.
truly. I mean, it's been great to build my relationship with you over this pandemic
Sure,
time.
right, for
and
sure.
Continue to grow it with you and the company and all the great things that come along with it.
I really appreciate that. So, Matt, we had on your president, George Limbert, on during the Alice conference. Great interview. I'm going to have you and him join us for a full No Vacancy Live during the AHOA conference. Really excited about that. But I figured this is a good natural point for us to get a little checkup about what you're seeing out there, what you're feeling out there, how the market is doing as far as it's concerned with you selling franchises for Red
I'm
Roof.
just going to say before you say
Yep.
that, because I know Glenn is stunning to look at, but I'm just going to ask you to look right in the camera down here because
Oh,
I
look
want you to
down
talk
there.
to the viewers.
Hey,
Glenn
right,
sees,
talk to the viewers.
Glenn sees you way too much as it is.
I'm sorry about that.
No, don't apologize. I need the attention.
You know, it's been a great start to the year from a franchising perspective.
Yep.
We had some great momentum coming in from 2021 rather. Getting through 20 was obviously challenging. Everyone did a fantastic job. Our company evolved and we made a lot of we made a lot of changes at the corporate level. Leadership from George has been phenomenal. Everyone just jumping on board with his vision and being very excited about it. And it's that energy is exuding out into the marketplace to our franchisees to do more deals and to find new franchisees as well to, taste our brands, get a touch of us and continue to build their, and grow with their entrepreneurial spirit.
We've said on the show here a couple of times already that Bruce Ford was talking about the number of transactions happening in the market. So have you seen an increase in those people looking to either remodel, rebrand, new builds? Has that been an increase?
Well, I could say this just from a transfer perspective. I put a little note together.
Right.
I think in the 6 years that we've had a transfer franchise specialist in place, we've handled nearly 200 transfers of new ownership just in our organization. And in the past 2 years, through the pandemic, he's handled close to 100.
Wow.
So if that gives you any type of just activity within our own brand, and this just is change of ownership where one or two people are leaving an LLC. This is full-blown change of ownership. So if we are any if we were being indicative of what's going on in the market, I'd say, there's a lot of transactions going on. But it's not because of distress.
Right.
It's because of opportunity, people wanting to not only, maybe 1031. There's various different reasons why people are buying and selling.
Well, one of the things, Matthew, that we've been talking about in regard to COVID, that there hasn't been the opportunities that people thought were going to come from that word that you just said, distressed properties, with all the banks doing the classic extend and pretend routine throughout all of this, and government programs that help keep owners in place, kept these places open. You're probably expecting it to go one way, went a completely different way for you. How are you feeling right now about how things did go in regards to the potential for your future?
Well, I think we did very well, and working together with our franchisee base. We have multi-unit owners. Yep. We have families that have one. We worked collectively together, being collaborative in our efforts to make sure that we weren't pinching and doing everything that we could during that whole time frame, 24 months, call it, right? Because it's pretty much 24 months to the day this week. So we've worked together with our franchisee base as a company, and together with them to make sure that we get through all of this. So that being said, the opportunities within our brand continue to be there and grow. So, we're excited about the future of Red Roof.
What do you guys do at Red Roof as you have these new ownership groups coming through to help them in that process?
Well, it's like we tell the company, and we explain to the new owners, we put them through the same process as if they were just joining the brand, because technically they're just joining the brand. So they're going through the same ownership and management training, revenue management training, and in some cases they're joining our revenue management program, which we highly recommend, so they can learn and understand how we can drive business to their hotels. I mean, that's why you brand, that's why you franchise, to have that corporate support and that excitement about the brand around your business to drive heads into your beds and get that revenue and drive rate.
That's cool, Matt.
So same thing for everyone.
Yeah, I want to get personal for a little second. We're talking all about George a lot and how he came on as president and all of that. But you got the promotion to chief development officer. How cool is that for you? What has that experience been like for you, taking on the reins and being able to create this organization that you want to create?
It's been awesome, and the great part about it is I'm excited for it. First of all, I'm very, very thankful for those who believed in me to give me that opportunity. So I'll give you that a wink, and they know who that is. So I just want to say thank you. And the current leadership that has come with me together, we've come together very well over the last 12 to 18 months. And it's a process, but learning to work with each other in the way we have under George's leadership, I'm excited about what we're doing on the development piece. Right. And it's like the first follower, right? You got to get somebody to buy into what you're doing, and then you find the next follower. And before you know it, everyone is with you, leading in their own way on your specific vision for what it is that you do. And, my vision is to continue to grow the brands with quality hoteliers, with great assets that are engaged, and they want to work with our operations team. They want to work with our revenue management team. They want to work with quality training. They want to be the best in their space, and they want to lead in the RevPAR indexing in their market. And they just want to be the best Red Roof owner there is to get that recognition and be successful, and then go do another one.
Right. What about people that don't own any hotels? How can they get involved with you? How can they learn from what you guys are doing and get into a meaningful ownership place in the hospitality business?
There's a couple ways to do it. First of all, I mean, as a company, we have to continue to drive leadership and the ability to drive potential employees and franchisees to our company. We know that the labor force right now is in slight disarray. They're not sure if they want to come or they want to go, whether they want to work, whether they want to play. So we need to understand the next generation employee, and who that employee is and where they want to go in their life. Do they want to be an entrepreneur? Some people like that less stress activity and be able to go home at 5 and enjoy their life, whether it be playing basketball after 5 in the over 35 league or whatever it may be. So we need to just identify those folks and bring them to the hospitality industry, because this is a phenomenal industry to be a part of.
So we hear a lot about the negativity going on in the world right now, right? Inflation, supply chain issues, the labor shortage, right? So what is your message to a prospective owner about the actual opportunity that is there?
Well, it's one of those things to understand that we are doing everything we can to work with those issues and try to get ahead of them. specifically, there's one major one, supply chain issues, just with soft good packages and that sort of thing. Our company took it upon ourselves to go out and stockpile it. So it's available for our franchisees.
Nice.
So it's not at an increased cost.
Right.
It's the same cost that the vendor sells it for every day. It's just committed to us.
Yep.
And those are the types of things that our design and construction, our procurement team are looking at. We're looking at, why is the brokerage firms out there causing container loads of whatever it may be, products, supplies? Why is it being so high?
Mm-hmm.
Does it really need to be high? Are we looking in other alternatives? Are we building more relationships here in the U.S. to provide these products? And we are full tilt on doing all this, and our ownerships should know that, because we're relaying that through our franchise advisory council, through our under the one roof memorandums that go out to the franchisees every week and sometimes daily, that we're watching this, because every day it's a moving target.
Yep. Dave, anything else that you want to?
So just how's it feel to be back in person? We're here
Yeah.
at CLIC 5. It's a great event. The energy's high. How's it feel?
Listen, it feels awesome. Like I said, touching and handshaking instead of elbow bumping. It was 2 years ago when I walked in here and somebody gave me the elbow. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Excuse me, but what the hell is an elbow bump?
Hey, better than being given the finger, though. I'll tell
This
you.
is true. I'd rather have an elbow than a finger, right? So, but I was like, okay, and it's like, okay, this is going to go away in a couple of weeks. Well, guess what? It was a couple of years.
Right.
So we're very excited. It was like, I just stated on the panel up there, the brand panel, that it was nice to be able to come to the meeting space and to be able to leave the mask in the room.
I know.
Yes.
So I know we still need it for flights, and I'm fine with that. I'm just glad to see the parking lots full at the airports.
Right.
I'm glad to see that there's, a big fella sitting in between me while I sit in the aisle row. I really liked that space before, but I know that if the big fella's in between, the business is back, and people are going to be back at these bigger hotels as well. And, we're just very excited about business travel coming back as well.
Right. Well, hopefully we're getting to the end of the masks on plane. I was just Googling while you were talking about that, because the deadline was supposed to be on Sunday or something like that. It looks like it pushed it to April 18th, but only a month. So I'm thinking maybe that'll come to an end really soon. Either way, Matt, I'm going to be seeing you at the Hunter Hotel Investment Conference Mask Free in Atlanta in 2 weeks.
Well, that's for sure. And listen, the next 6 weeks, I'm on planes out and back. So I'll look forward to the day when they say, sir, you don't need that mask today. And I'll say, awesome.
Yeah. All right, Matt. Any final words? How can we connect with you over at Red Roof?
Listen, love for you to connect with us. RedRoofFranchising.com. You can find any of the team members in any of the regions in the U.S., here in California as well. Vinay Sharma, V Sharma at RedRoof.com. I'm M Hostetler at RedRoof.com. Come, test us out, talk to us, find out why you should brand with us. We have extended stay opportunities, soft branding with the Red Collection, and of course our iconic brand, Red Roof.
Awesome. That was a very impressive plug.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was a great plug.
All right.
That's why he's the Chief Development Officer.
I know.
Boom.
Absolutely. All right. This is the point where normally I'd say goodbye to you. Dave and I would wrap up in a couple of minutes, but lunch is being served.
Yes.
I'm hungry.
We got to run.
Let's get out of here. See you guys this afternoon.